Alright guys, Lewis here. This is the first video on my reactions to soccer. This will now be a reactions channel. I did have videos before um, on just gaming, but it was really poor quality. Now that I have an actual computer, I can actually do reactions. I can do a lot of other stuff. So today I have a special guest. Can you please introduce yourself, bud?
Yeah, what's up? Well, let's just go with
Well,
Fluffside
introduce
for
your
now.
name. Introduce your name, and then say that you got a channel, and then
Oh,
yada yada
okay,
yada.
okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
alright. What's up, guys? It's Fluffside. Essentially, I guess I'm a first and foremost a Man U fan. So, I would be, I guess, be having more opinions on Man U and anything related to Man U. But I'm a big fan of Premier League in a sense, anyway. I also have a YouTube channel if you would want to check it out. It's also Fluffside. Just YouTube it out and subscribe and like and all that stuff.
His link to his channel will be in the description below.
Cool.
All right, so let's talk about the main games. All right, so the first game we're gonna talk about is Chelsea versus Wolves. I actually was watching
Okay.
this game. This game, I was
Mm-hmm.
watching four other games. I was watching since I'm an Arsenal fan myself. I like Arsenal, and also I do play Ultimate Team. So one of the games that was on this weekend was West Ham versus Aston Villa, and last Monday, EA Sports, the Ultimate Team, FIFA put out um, a Summer Showdown SPC featuring Arthur Masuaku from West Ham. He gets an 82 rated card. That's one of the SPCs. And then another SPC would be for Aston Villa for Mohamed Hassan, also known as Trezeguet. So basically, I was watching that game as well, along with the two other main games, which is Chelsea Wolves, we're going to go to right now, and Man U versus um, Leicester, along with the Arsenal game, which Arsenal and Watford. Watford had us win in a sense to survive or draw. It was there's a lot going on. So this game, Chelsea versus Wolves. The first 40 minutes was actually boring. We can go through the stats. We can do their lineups. So did you know that Kappa Arrizabalaga actually didn't play this game because of how bad he
Yeah, yeah,
was?
I saw.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're memeing the shit on Twitter about how Kappa fucking like they lost against who's the game that they played against before? They played against Chelsea, right? He had a no Liverpool,
Liverpool,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, they played against Liverpool. They had a shit. He had a shit game. The first goal, there's nothing to be. There's nothing you could do about kind of shot, but he should have done more on the second and third goals. That's why he's not
Yeah,
playing this
yeah.
game. Yeah. So they play the three at the back. Wolves put on this same formation as well. I honestly think they should have played um what's his face on the bench? Adama, yeah. They should have played Adama way earlier. They should have started with Adama. I don't know why they did not start with Adama because of the fact that Marcos Alonso is easily exploitable. Well, actually, he wasn't playing as a fullback, but pace birds. And as shown during the season, Adama, like, legit was a menace in a sense. But
Yeah, yeah. I
the
mean, he's a big dude, but he's still very athletic. He has the speed, he has the power, he had everything that you could ask for essentially. And I think I think it was a mistake for them to not start with him. Maybe there's a fatigue, that maybe it's a fitness level that wasn't up to par. But I think I agree with you. I think they should have definitely started
because the thing
Hachimura.
is that Wolves is a must win. They played very defensively. They let Chelsea run over. They let Chelsea like basically have most of the possession, like position stats
Yeah,
wise. Oh shit, sorry, stats. They had most of the possession. They were basically like, why are you playing Donker when you could have played Moutinho and kept possession? I don't get it. They basically cut their chances of getting Europa League because seventh, right? That does not guarantee you of Europa League unless if like Arsenal like wins the fucking FA Cup, which we'll get to later, and and basically knocks out like Wolves because this kind of makes Wolves like risk like they gotta pray for Chelsea. Like They basically paid for Chelsea for today. It was like, all right, we'll pay you today, so then we'll hope you win like next week in the FA Cup final. But yeah, the first half was pretty boring until the end of the first half when Mount scored an absolute golazo from a free kick. Like
Yep, yep.
he scored an absolute banger, and then a couple of minutes, like it was like what, a minute to 2 minutes later. It was like almost the end of the first half, like almost the end of like added time. Giroud, I didn't know Giroud had pace. I did not know Giroud had pace. So he basically Patrico, Rui Patrico came out a little too early. I think he came out. If he like kept it on the line, like if he stayed on his line, he would have saved Giroud's shot or like something like or just like prevented him from getting burnt. And then Giroud actually showed some pace to actually like he already burned the goalie. Okay, you've already burned the goalie. That's your first half though, but you have to like control it too. He actually kept control because in front of him was the defender. In front of him was Connor Cody. Connor Cody's actually a pretty big dude. He actually got there and it scored. I'm like, that was pretty much that game. That game was like second half. I didn't even bother. That game was over. Like they had no threat. All right, you
Yeah.
got any
So
other
in
opinions
no,
about this game?
in terms of Oliver Giroud, I don't think it was. I guess he did show that he had some speed as well. But I think what gave him that goal was two things, right? He was pretty athletic. He was not only having his composure, he also had the strength to basically hold off that defender because that defender was definitely on him and should have done better, in my opinion. But because of his pure strength and his ability to score off of different angles and kind of having these finesse to his goal scoring, I feel like he just kind of proved that even furthermore because I felt like it was a difficult shot to get off, but I feel like also the defender kind of had given him that chance to get it off because it's Drew's strength that I think helped him out there that gave him that goal.
They gave him that angle. Like that angle like came up and that's how he actually tucked it in.
Yeah, yeah,
Like even though that first place, like Pulisic, who actually did really well again, yet again, the man himself, Pulisic. Since I'm American, I have to like give a huge shout out to Pulisic for actually playing really, really, really well after like the break came back. Like the dude had a long injury. That's the thing with the shutdown is that a lot of people, a lot of players recovered throughout that time frame. Like people that other players that we're gonna talk to later, we're gonna talk about later that actually recovered and performed well. Giroud, legit, Giroud honestly kept Tammy Abraham. Yeah, Tammy Abraham was a what 10 plus goal scorer even before the lockdown. Yeah,
yeah.
the guy kept Tammy Abraham out because he offers much more than Tam. Well, they're both similar players. Is that Tammy has more speed, but Giroud's link up play is top tier. That's how France won the World Cup. France won the World Cup because Giroud. All you need with Giroud is that I just need you to link up play and score and like win knockdowns. That's basically what Giroud is, and that even next year, dude, Chelsea's team is gonna be so good next year. Did you hear that Timo Werner actually came to watch the game today?
Oh no, I mean
He
I'm assuming he's going to go to Chelsea anyway. I feel
he's
like
already
it's
he already
pretty much a
signed to
deal done.
Chelsea. You did not know that, right? He signed with
Oh
Chelsea
right,
already.
right, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's already like signed and is already like training with them already. So like he came down to watch the game. And also from hearing the rumors that um through this German guy, he's like really reputable on Twitter. I forgot what his name is. Um he said that Kai Havertz is bound to come to Chelsea. Is actually like bound as a sense is that
Oh
they're
yeah,
now in the
yeah, yeah.
Champions League and that he wants to join a Champions League club with title aspirations. Chelsea's team, like they need a couple more defenders, and they're set.
Hmm.
They're set to challenge. They're really set to challenge. Like their attack midfield is already good enough to
Yep.
play with the big boys. All right, let's go to the next game. This game, Leicester versus Manchester United. Do you want to like talk about this one because you're a Man U
Well, I
fan?
mean, yeah. So obviously, I'm super happy. I'm super like, getting third is not only a good position to be at the end of the season, and obviously getting that Champions League game that we obviously really, really need to convince players to come. The target players that we want to buy and the squad that we want to further improve on. It was an important win, important for us to basically secure that place because you can argue that okay, if we don't win today or if we don't draw today, we still have the Europa League. But I just want it to be done and dusted. So just wanted to have the Champions League secured, and that's what we did today essentially. But in terms of the performance, I can't say that I was happy to see the way we're playing. I think the last 3 games, pretty much, I think Manu has been looking very shaky, we're looking very fatigued. I think that is kind of the reason we want to or the way we want to strengthen our squad is basically
Bench.
having this ability to swap out players that need rest and basically have a bench that we can rely on because that's not something we have right now.
I agree with your bench. You guys have no bench at all. Like, I think you guys
Yeah.
played the same set of like what 10 players, if in a
Yeah,
span of
pretty
a
much.
month.
Yeah, yeah,
Within the span of a month, like, because games during after lockdown are thick and fast. So it's like you need
yeah.
to have a bench. You need to have a rotation of players, and legit, as shown from the Tottenham game, is that like even like off the start of after reset, is that your bench isn't that good.
No, yeah.
You,
I mean, we tried to bench try to play some of the bench players. I think it was Southampton that we drew 2-2, where we could have gone third place over back then. But that kind of showcases how good our bench is because we're trying to swapping things out. We're trying
it's
to
like
play
you try
players
to
that
play Daniel James, who
yeah, yeah, who doesn't really have an end product, right? He has the speed. I think that's what he's known for, but he doesn't really have much more than that, in my opinion.
he's raw. He came from the championship too.
Yeah,
He's raw right now. You
yeah,
guys try to
yeah,
play Bailly in actually the FA Cup. You guys can right after that game. That game was like
yeah. And then
you guys
he
kind of
got
take
subbed off as well.
you guys kind of tanked that game. Try to tank that game because that game wasn't part of your dues. And then even like the game before, the game on West Ham is that. Who did you guys play? I want to check again. You guys played the
Wait,
same
what?
lineup. Yeah, you guys played the
Oh
same
yeah, yeah,
lineup on
yeah.
West Ham. Oh,
Yeah, we went back to it
you guys tried to play Fosu Mensa because
because
Wan-Bissaka
because of
was
injury.
like dead. Like you guys
Mm,
in the Champions League, though, like you guys are in the Champions League, right? Having
yep.
Champions League is so much easier because one, you can attract players because it's Champions League. Two, your finishing position, you get more money. TV revenue is so big in Premier League, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And three, it's Manchester United. So it's like hearing the name of Manchester United basically um gives the allure. As of Leicester, I would say congrats to Vardy. First off, Vardy
Oh yeah.
actually won the Golden Boot. He's
Hmm.
actually, you want to hear a fun fact? Vardy is the oldest player to win the Golden Boot in the Prem
Oh wow.
because he the older record, the past record was by Drogba. When I think
Okay.
because Vardy, how old is Vardy? Let me check. Let me go quick check. Vardy was 30 something. I think he's like 34,
33.
35. He's 33. Okay, he's 33. Drogba when he won it, I think he won it I think he won it like probably like when he was 31, 32. I'm trying to remember cuz he won it like pretty late in his career. But West Leicester, I think they choked. After restart, they choked a lot of games. They call it choked. They had injuries too. They had injuries to he wasn't even on the bench today. James Madsen. They had
Yeah.
injuries to who's his face? Ricardo Pereira, and they had injuries to um Ben Chilwell. And also what's his face?
Christian Fuchs.
Seg Fuchs isn't a big part player in their team now. He's like
No, but
role player.
they've been having a lot of
Soinshu.
injuries in their back line.
Soinshu as well got suspended. He
Yeah,
got
red card.
red card. So it was like when I saw their lineup, I was like, dude, this team like they had to play a lot of youngsters. Some of the youngsters actually did decently. Like they actually did a decent job, but the first half of this game, was honestly sleeper. Like nothing really happened. I was like,
Mm.
bro, I don't want to watch this game though. Straight up, they only scored because of a mistake. They got the peno, Martial, Schmeichel, who had a bad game, and honestly, like he had bad distribution. Um, he gave it to he was it. I think he like passed it wayward, and Martial like latched onto it, and then it was Wes Morgan and Johnny Evans, who are not the quickest defenders at all. And Johnny Evans tripped Martial. That was definitely a trip. That was a definite trip. Like he didn't get the ball. Yellow is intended because he did try to win the ball back, but it tripped him. And then Bruno Fernandez scored with that stupid ass jumping penalty. Though that jumping penalty
It's so good.
is so dumb. It's so dumb. Like it's
But the
so
thing is, the goalkeepers they always move before though. That's the whole reason behind it, right? Like they
yeah.
make a little movement to which direction they're jumping.
They did
So I
that
mean,
jump. They did that jump shit, which
yeah.
in a sense, I think Leicester are gonna lose a lot of players during the transfer window because Chelsea is linked with Chilwell. A lot of teams are linked with Madison,
Hmm.
and they can't keep all of them because that's a problem with financial fair play. Is that the richer clubs are still winning? They're still winning out because they can buy whoever the fuck they want. But then the poorer clubs, the like low end, the middle table clubs like Leicester and the lot, they
Yeah.
can't defend their players. They can't defend themselves. They can't legit give them like a new contract or anything. They have to like fight for survival every fucking day. Like now they're in a separate transfer window. Leicester do have a good scouting team. They scout like talents like Ndidi and such. So I'm
Hmm.
curious to see where they are gonna find their new talents because they do have a good team. They have Ayuzi Perez, Damari, sorry. Um, this Pratt dude is actually pretty decent. I've heard good things about him. Harvey Barnes. So yeah, they are going to be in the Europa League next year because the Wolves actually lost. They actually were confirmed to like be no lower than fifth already. So this game kind of shows that um they're not Champions League material as of yet. Got any other thoughts
Yeah,
for this game right now?
yeah, I still want to say that I think they also have a good manager. I think Brendan Rodgers is definitely a good enough manager to keep them, going forward and keeping improving the team essentially. So I feel like Brendan Rodgers should definitely stay. I hope they don't do the mistake where they kind of switch out the manager every too
Every
soon,
year,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they should kind of stick with him and build the team however he wants and build on him and his
Because
vision
Brendan
essentially.
Rodgers back when it was Liverpool extracted the most out of the young players. So
Yeah, I agree.
let's
Yeah.
like he'll try to extract most out of Chowdhury, um, Justin, this Thomas dude. I forgot what his first name is. Like they'll try to extract all these young kids to actually play like semi decently. So yeah, and also, hey, Jesse Lingard scored a goal, bro. Jesse bloody Lingard scored a goal. Oh my
Nice.
lord, dude. Smichael had a bad game. The bad game, you get a bad game because one, your distribution was shit, and two, Jesse Lingard scored. That's when you know
Yeah.
you're in the bin, bro. You're in the bin for today. Like, did I send you this tweet? I sent you this tweet. It was like about
Yeah, you did. Yep. Yep.
it was about this dude. Okay, so he made a bet. He made like a 600 pound bet on yeah, like um
It
if
was
Jesse
less than
Lingard.
that. I thought it was a small amount.
I think it was
But
like
the
it was
win was bigger.
originally. It was
Yep.
like I saw it later. I was like 100 pounds. I was like, bro, Jesse Lingard finally scores a goal, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's gonna get solid. We won't digest in that right now. Like we'll digress in that later. Because we gotta talk about more games. So this game, Southampton versus Sheffield. I didn't even care about watching the highlights. This is a bum game. We can quickly go over this. Danny Ings. You know for a fact that he actually had 22 goals.
Yeah, he was so close. Just
He
like
was so close. Obama Yeg.
Aubameyang. Yep.
Shea Adams. I mean, he scored 2 goals. Good championship player that's coming from the Prem. There's only much to say about this game because these two teams are already safe. So in a sense, they're just fine for pride. We can move on. Actually, Dean Henderson's coming back to Man U. Yes, and still De Gea, but still, he's a good backup. He's good rotation for
Mhm.
next year. Yes, he could be like what Caballero is doing right now if De Gea is like actually playing shores.
Yeah, I think Dean Henderson has been showing very good promise in Sheffield United, and I think it's a bit too early to say that we should chip out De Gea for Dean Henderson. But obviously, the talk is there because I think De Gea hasn't looked that good in the past maybe 2 seasons or maybe even more, and it puts a little bit pressure to De Gea, I suppose, to perform or to keep his standards up again because it's kind of like the Kepa situation where you have this manager who's actually brave enough to bench Kepa because of his mistakes and his awful form. But I don't think he's a direct replacement as of now. I'm not sure if he's going to go back out on loan or not. For example, it all depends on Ole and how much faith he has on
You
him.
guys have so many goalies too, so it's like you guys can like
Yeah,
semi
yeah,
cash out on
yeah.
like one of the goalies. All right, next game is Liverpool versus Newcastle. Actually, Newcastle scored early. I was like, wait, are Newcastle gonna win? Are Newcastle gonna bloody win? Because Liverpool
Like first
filled it
first
out.
minute.
Yeah, first minute. I was like, they filled it out like a kid team. Oh, actually, a second team in a sense because they put Nico Williams. They didn't even start Firmino. F- Firmino. Oh my god, sorry if I butchered that guy's name. I'm good at names.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they didn't play Alexander Arnold. They didn't play Salah,
They was on the
Firmino,
bench.
Sane.
They just brought
Yeah.
him on later. But
Yep.
this game is like a non-important game because Newcastle they're already safe. Liverpool have won the league. It's like for pride. Some of these games will just go over quick because there is for pride games in a way. Um, Newcastle. I've been hearing rumors about. Have you heard that they're gonna get taken over by some dude
Oh yeah.
from where it was from again? It was
Qatar? No,
from
Emirates?
Qatar. It was not from
Yeah.
Emirates. It's not from
Okay.
Emirates. It's from fuck. Let me go check out. Let me go check it out. It's from what's his face? Newcastle takeover. Saudi from Saudi Arabia.
Saudi, yeah, yeah.
But the problem is that Saudi Arabia is one of the worst places in the world in terms of like human rights and human rights of people and like human rights. So it's like, do they want an owner who's a shit human being? That's the
Well, I mean,
thing.
it's essentially all down to business. I think is what they're looking at, right? Like all the revenue that we'll be getting, all those what do you call it? The investments that will be put into the club. I think that's what they're mainly looking at because at the end of the day, I don't think they will be having any political issues or statements to be made within the club or anything like that. It's more like they have the money to buy out the club and kind of have pop in the money that they could use and take the club to the next level.
Because the thing is that it was widely documented even like before lockdown and now after lockdown, like there has been much like traction going on with um Newcastle with the
Hmm.
takeover. So we'll probably keep in check of how this is going during the transfer window, which starts in like
Yep.
when does the window start again? Is it starting in like a couple days?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was at the end or at the beginning of August or
I think it was
something.
like end of July. I think it's like a couple days after July. But yeah, we'll move on to the next game because we got a lot of games to go. West Ham Aston Villa. So this is another one of the games that I was watching. See the stats. Okay, it was an even game. So the reason why I was watching was that West Ham. I did the SBC of both of the team's players. So I did one for Aston Villa and one for West Ham. So the Summer Showdown, what it does is that if Aston Villa wins, the player I did, which was Trezeguet, this dude right here,
Hmm.
Trezeguet would get a +3. So he would go from a 92 overall, which he got, which is which he had originally, to 95. And I don't want to go into FIFA stuff right now, but in this game itself, um, I think it was kind of boring. This game too. Jack Grealish scored a banger, like to keep him. Well, they didn't need a win actually. Aston Villa, they did not need
Yep.
a win. We paid
Yep.
Arsenal paid them to win that last game, bro. We gifted them a win, bro, because
Yeah. Cause yeah.
they were like dead and out. They were like dead and out of the water. The only way they still stuck in is that they got, as from the NBC Suncast was saying that Aston Villa from their last 4 games got 10 points, but also it was actually compounded by um the sacking of Nigel Pearson from Watford, which basically was the nail in the coffin for Watford. Is he on the bench? I don't think he's on the bench. So that player from West Ham isn't even on their bench, but I don't know why he got a FIFA card. So basically, the second part of Summer Showdown is that both teams tied. So I did both the players from both West Ham and Aston Villa. I'm gonna repeat myself again. So they get a +1. But anyways, that goal by what's his face Yarmolenko was so freak. That was like honestly the freak goal.
Yeah.
It was like after Grealish scored a golazo. I think he had like 3 players around him, shot from like the left half of like the West Ham box. Fabianski got a touch to it too, which you can honestly say it was a good shot. It was a great shot, but shit keeping because he got to hit shit.
It was a hard. I don't know. I wouldn't be too harsh on the keeper, but I mean, yeah, you can argue that he could have done better. But it was a very kind of a weird, awkward shot or goal or whatever you want to call it.
Because Jack
But yeah, I
Grealish
mean,
wasn't convincing at all after lockdown.
yeah, yeah,
Pre-lockdown, that guy was saucing it up. Like 7 goals and 6 assists on a shitter team in Aston Villa. Even after the game, Aston Villa was like, oh yeah, they were getting lit, and then people on Twitter was like, oh yeah, you guys are lucky because fucking VAR wasn't turned on during the Sheffield game when Sheffield definitely scored that goal. So yeah, Aston Villa stay up for another year.
yep.
Jack Grealish is probably gone, I presume.
I don't know if he. I mean, Manu is very interested in buying him, but at the same time, it depends on the price tag and all that stuff. But I'm not sure if he's going. It depends on the interest, and maybe he wants to stay and fight for the club. But we'll see, I suppose.
It depends on the cash, dude. It depends on like how much you get from him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like they spent a lot, I think, and most of their those are the players they got this year from spending a lot weren't that good. Same thing with West Ham. Same thing. They had a disappointing season when they finished what top half for the last couple years. Like Felipe Anderson, their best player, legit was on their bench and didn't do well this year. Same thing with Haller. Haller actually absolutely sauced it up in Germany. Yep, he didn't do that too well. So I want to see what these two teams do for next year because for West Ham, I want to see if they can keep Declan Rice
Oh
because
yeah.
Declan Rice has been a big name throughout the transfer talks, like to Chelsea as linked. Even got caught like during quarantine because he got caught hanging out with his best bud Mason Mount. Him and Declan Rice, him and Mason Mount are best buds, by the way. If you didn't know that.
Oh,
So his friend could actually
persuade him.
persuade him to go. Mikel Antonio was actually a star after lockdown, scoring a shit ton of goals, bagging goals left, right, and center. He was originally like even before lockdown, like he wasn't doing much, but I guess somebody convinced David Moyes to play Mikel Antonio, and Mikel Antonio did the goods.
Yep.
Anyways, Aston Villa are staying up. Um, next game is I didn't care about this game. This game, Burnley versus Brighton. I mean, this game was kind of whack in a way. These guys are already stayed in the Premier League. I think the um the the only way I'm going to talk about this game is that it's probably because for Nick Pope because he was trying to fight for the Golden Glove. I think he
Yeah.
had a lot of clean sheets. Other than that, I think this game was not much to talk about. All right, next game is I'm going to talk about this game. Arsenal versus Watford. So Arsenal is my team, and we are playing today's game as a way of a warm up for the FA Cup final. This was our warm up game. This was the audition for um the 11 that started today, and we started off really well. Um, so Craig Dawson early on, it was like around like minute 4, minute 5. Craig Dawson pushed. He pushed Lacazette. Originally, it wasn't a foul, but ref went a VAR. The only time we get a VAR call, we get a penalty. Lacazette scores the penalty. Then a couple of minutes later, I think it was like in the 20th minute, 20ish minute, 22nd, 23rd. We were dominating these guys early on. Like Arsenal was like straight up dogging Watford. We were just dogging their team. Aubameyang gets a sloppy touch. Well, it was swung in by Pepe from the right hand side. Aubameyang kind of made like a sloppy touch. Passes it back to Tierney. Tierney just says to YOLO it, hits one of their defenders, and it scores in. That's 2-0. So I'm like, all right, this is an easy game, right? And then it was 3-0 when Tierney decides to just chuck that ball. He decides to like long throw that mofo up to fucking Aubameyang. No, their defender. It was such a long throw that none of their defenders, right, came to touch that ball. None of them. And Aubameyang scored what is probably the goal of this match day, where he I think what's the skill move? I forgot what's the skill move. It's like a skill move I've done before. It's like he I think it was like toe touched it. He toe touched it where he would flick the ball up and then he scored a bicycle kick. It was like a standing bicycle kick goal. So it was 3-0. And then David Luiz, yes, David Luiz once again fouls who did he foul? I forgot. I think it was like he fouled Welbeck because Welbeck already shot the ball. Say Martinez made the save. And then it was a late call too. Like went back in the replay. Yep, Luiz actually took him out. Dini scores up the penalty, which Dini has 10 goals. Pretty good. We always Arsenal fan TV was beaming about Dini, or like the chat was beaming about how like Dini is shit and Dini's all that. Dini isn't a bad player. Like the only reason why people meme about Dini is that he's fat. He looks big. That's basically it. So then that what was the interesting fact is that this is the fifth time Luis has actually conceded a penalty this year in the Prem. The fifth time. That's a
Is that the
record.
highest?
That's the highest. Yeah, that's the record. Yeah, conceding too many penalties, Luis. I don't know, man. I don't know if we should have given that contract, bro. But I'll probably reflect on Arsenal's season in another video. But after that penalty, Watford started to have life because they can come back from 2 goals down. And then during the second half, they just dominated us. They honestly had more possession. They had more incentive to run at us. They had more incentive to they were like basically what's the word? They were encouraged because they still needed a win, but they needed other games to go their way in a sense. Like Watford, like after Tuesday, after that Tuesday game against Man City, they were down. They were underdogs. Yep. Welbeck got a goal. Great move by Sar. Ismail Sar. This guy on the right hand side, this Donny. Ismail Sar, honestly, if teams are trying to improve by relegation fodder, Ismail Sar, Ducore, I don't know about Pereira, but the main ones to get from Watford, I'm trying to give like promotion here, right? I'm trying to promote players. Sar, Ducore, Sar is really good. Sar's quick, has end product, can dribble, and is young. So like, but he's not gonna be cheap though. That's the problem. He's not. Sar's not gonna be cheap. Ducore, Ducore is basically, um, he would be a budget Pogba. I would say about Ducore. Ducore, Ducore is budget Pogba because Ducore is powerful. He has, he can shoot. He can defend as well. Pogba, that's basically budget Pogba because Pogba is basically what I explained. Powerful, can shoot, can dribble, can defend all around. 5 tool player. Troy Deeney, um, there's this tweet about like this guy like telling Deeney, "Hey, are you old yet?" And then Deeney was like, "Me? I'm not that old. I'm not washed up yet." So then Deeney could go to like a championship slash um low fodder prem side, but I think Deeney's a one club man, so I don't think he is that type of person to do that. Anyways, do you have anything about this match or no? I mean,
No, I think the reason why Watford got back into the game, apart from the goals, was also because I felt like Arsenal was trying to give Aubameyang the service to basically keep up with the Golden
Golden Boot.
Boot. So I think Watford kind of understood that they were trying to do. So that was kind of not predictable in a sense, but they were kind of playing around that, and they kind of got back to basically got control of the not control got possession of the ball and essentially were getting back into the game because I felt like if you weren't trying to feed Aubameyang all these balls, what have happened is probably that you might have gotten a goal that that could possibly kill the game essentially.
Yeah, like basically, if you got in like the same amount of goals, they gave you like the same actual Golden Boot trophy
Yeah,
as
I
well.
know it's weird. I
It
think
was
it's
weird.
weird.
It's weird, bro. All right, that's part of the main game's done up. Manchester City, Norwich City. This
Well, I mean
game,
that's just
that's just
you
rape.
know
Look at this. Look at the stats already. Like it was massacre in a sense. Possession, shots on target, just absolute massacre. Kevin De Bruyne got 2 goals, got possibly one of the goals of the year. Scored a golazo, got 20 assists. Um, basically he tied the assist record too, set by
with Henry.
my boy Henry. Yeah, my boy Thierry Henry. So
Yeah.
it was like
Yeah, it's probably in my opinion, he's probably the player of the year of the season, Kevin De Bruyne. I don't see anybody else having the same kind of work ethic that he has, day in day out, and produces all these goals and assists that he does all the time. So I mean, it's hard to see anybody else better than him in Premier League right now.
I honestly think so too. Like the writers gave it to Jordan Henderson. Like what the fuck has Jordan Henderson done other than captain Liverpool? He has gotten some
Yeah,
goals. He's actually, if they would give like a most improved player award in um soccer or like in the Premier League, I'd give it to Jordan Henderson. Like he's the most improved player out of all the players in the Premier League. Like back then, like he had no product. Like he was
yeah.
known as like as a Steven Gerrard understudy. Now he's been a great player. But going back to this game, Man City. Also congrats to Ederson too because he won the Golden Glove.
Oh yeah, most clean
Most
sheets,
clean
right?
sheets, yeah. Like I mean, it's normal for that too because Man City's been like after lockdown came back, smashing opponents for fun. The only game they like kind of like choked, like kind of screwed around was the Chelsea game, which they did not play Mendy. I honestly think they Man City for next year they just need to improve their defense, and that's basically it. Like this year, they just need a second defender, like another second, like a center back, because they do not want to play Fernandinho there again. Because that would be like one, it would screw up their midfield shape, and two, they do not trust John Stones, which is not he was on the bench, nor Otamendi. So it's like they need to get a center back, but also they need to get a left back because they do have a really good left back in Angelino, currently on loan on Leipzig, but his buyout clause is super cheap, so they could cash in on that and get a better left back in a way. Do you have any thoughts on Man City's squad?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, I guess congrats to Ederson. I don't think he has been that good, but I feel like the team has been good, and that's kind of the reason why they could have held so many clean sheets essentially. But obviously, I wouldn't say he doesn't deserve it. He definitely hats off to him. So
I think for next year for City is play more Fafon and play more Eric Garcia. That's your future right there. That's honestly your future. Play more of these two guys, and then just basically, you guys are lucky that um CAS Court of is it arbitration of sport or something like that. Basically, we won't go into that. I'm getting into my feelings for a little bit, but we won't get into that right now. But
all
yeah,
right, all right, all right.
all right. For let's talk about Norwich. So Norwich, I mean, we are gonna promote some of their players because during the summer when the transfer window was that basically if you're a relegated team, your players are instantly cheaper. A lot of your players become um your good players become like good value for them. So you can definitely sell off like if I'm trying to promote players to stay in the prem like in different teams. Max Aarons is a good player, really highly touted. Todd Cantwell has been highly been linked to Liverpool. He has scored the second most goals in Norwich behind Pookie because Pookie had a great first month of the season. That's how he won the
Yeah,
Player of the Month.
yeah, good
But
form. Yeah.
after that, he dropped off. I don't recommend Pookie because Pookie doesn't really fit the Premier League in a way. And then, oh, they don't have that other player. Emilia Buendia also is another player that people should look to sign for uh, the lower budget Premier League teams because he had a lot of assists. But everyone else, I can assure you, they're championship quality. They're just like, they're just not worth buying in a sense. Like,
Yep.
they had a shitty defense. Their midfield wasn't good. To be fair, their team was championship quality all year long. You compare,
Yeah, I think the only player I really rate in that team is probably just Todd Cantwell. I don't think anybody else is even worth buying. Maybe like you said, lower
Max
end team, but
Max
Todd Cantwell
Aaron's
has kind of
Max
well, yeah,
Aaron's
I guess yeah, yeah. I think he's also I guess deserves some hype or whatever. But I think Todd Cantwell is the one that has actually been impressive when I watch him play.
yeah, him and Bundia too. That Argentine guy that didn't play today. All right, next game. Crystal Palace versus Tottenham. Tottenham tied. They didn't really need to win this game. They just honestly need. Oh, okay. Repeat your click. Okay.